What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy C-Dub, aka Whit, and I have a quick unpackaging. Let's get right into it. Got this package right here from Bibboards, created by Brian Goodall, and this thing was invented in 2009. Let's get right into it. What are Bibboards, you may ask? Well, Bibboards are a replacement for these. Bibboards are push pins that you can actually push into your jersey. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually put them on one of these jerseys back here and see how it actually works. You just pop it out. It just pop out like that. That's the back. That's the front. There it is. It's attached. You put 4 of those on and it holds your number in place. Thanks, Bibboards. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you just got through seeing that grand unboxing from Bibboards, please go check those guys out. This product is an amazing product. What you see right now is the category 35 plus Cat 1 through 4. And this is my first time racing a category 1 through anything type of race. I got Sharon Smith. We have Rasan Bahati in this race. We got Salazar. We got Methods to Winning in this race. Pishon Jones, Kendall. We got a lot of big hitters in this particular race. And this event was held at the Porsche Experience Center in Carson, California. An amazing venue put on by LAGRANGE Racing Team. So again, thank you, LAGRANGE, for a great event. This took place on June the 2nd, and right now we are in the first lap of this race. This is the starting lap. Thank you all for clicking this video. Thank you for your time. This video is going to be a long one. This race was 50 minutes, so this video is just over that. This video is roughly about 51 minutes long, so please hunker in, get your coffee, get your tea, get a snack, get a few snacks, and tuck in behind David Wells with me, and let's get this thing going. Also, if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, please check out my vlogger video that will be posted right here. Thank you for checking that out. So with that, I also ask that you would subscribe to the Whit Roadrunner family, and I ask that you would be a part of this journey. I'm vlogging races, I'm vlogging training rides, I'm vlogging Hammerfest rides, I'm vlogging experiences of life behind bars on 2 wheels. And I am just so excited, so ecstatic about sharing this experience with you. Not just this one that you're looking at right now, but the whole journey of your boy C-Dub, aka Whit, getting it in. So right now we are coming up on the official first lap. If you look over here to the right, you'll see the announcers there where the cones are. That's where the lap cards are as we come to this 3% climb right here. And because it's so quick, you'll see that my gradient down below sometimes doesn't even register it before we're actually over the top of it and going down into, as you see that 3%, 4%, as we're going down into the left-hand turn here. So you see the course in the top right of your screen. You also see some of my data at the bottom left, as well as you have there the rear camera footage that I love sharing with you all. And as I've expressed before in many other commentary videos, I really enjoy sharing the front and rear camera footage with you all because it also helps me to see, you know, roughly 320 degrees of what's going on around me. And it also gives you a out in front and out behind of what's going on around your boy as we're going through this race together. So right now, I am sitting on David Wells' wheel of VELO factory team, their masters team. They had a few hitters in this race as well. And so, of course, as I promised you all, I had to watch this video, see who I was around, get their numbers down so that I can present these men to you, not by bib or bike alone, but also by name. So if you look at my rear camera, I have Kendall of VELO Pasadena. Net 275 is Victor. to my left in the Lagrange kit, and 266 is, didn't get his name. So 266 there of S2 Bosch, but ultimately I'm sitting behind David Wells, who is DW2 with David Worthington. These two, this guy right here in front of me and David Worthington, are some amazing race commentators. And if you ever need commentators, please look up DW2. Those guys are fantastic. They're phenomenal commentators. But right now, 275 in this 50th anniversary Lagrange kit. That's Victor, who I'm sitting behind right now, and we're just making our way. These laps are roughly about 1.3 miles long each. So this, I went about 22 miles on this day in this race, and for 49, roughly 49 minutes of racing. So right now we're just making our way up, and we're going through some turns. So if you look at the course right there, there's some right-hand turns, there's some left-hand turns, because this is a experience racetrack. People can come to the Porsche Experience Center and pay a certain amount. There's 3 different categories, I believe. They can pay a certain amount and drive a Porsche 911. They can drive a Porsche Panamera and some few other vehicles that they have here to give you a Porsche experience, hence the name of what this place is called, the Porsche Experience Center. Riding on this course, this pavement was really beautiful. There was a couple of bumps, as you'll see here. That was a little bump. But there's a couple of little bumps in the road, but nothing that's really gonna change anything. You know, you just got to be careful. The turns are really sweeping, so it's not like a regular criterium or road race course. The turns are a lot longer. They're a lot more sweeping, as you can see here as we're going through this left-hand turn. I have Steven Netter, one of my mentors, in my rear camera, and I'm just on the inside. And at the same time, if you're looking at this map, the wind is blowing from our left to the right. So as you look at the map, the wind is blowing from the left to the right. And so right now, going in this race, I did get a good 45 minute warm up, but I did not get to do any really leg openers. What that means is kind of sprinting and really putting down some power just to get a large flow of blood pumping in my legs. I kind of spent the whole time. And I wanted to do some sprints, but I had to go to the Porta-John, so that took away some of my time. But anyway, as I'm in this race, my legs were hurting. And again, we got some Cat 1s. And a lot of, from what I noticed, even looking at the final race results, a lot of the Cat 1s and Cat 2s were up in the front. So they were really driving this pace, driving the momentum. And from that, I realized that my legs were hurting. And I was like, oh my God, my heart rate feels good. I mean, I'm at 179 beats per minute right now. But ultimately, I felt really good cardiovascularly. But my legs were like, oh my God, they were so tight. And I was like, come on, legs, I need you to open up. I need you to open up. And so we're like roughly like 8 minutes now into this video, and my legs were just hurting, but I was hanging in here with the group. And I really like racing with masters because it's not so punchy. It's more of the pace picks up more slowly, I guess I could say, and it's a more nice tempo ride. You know, when I do the open Cat 4, the open pretty much the pure Cat 4 race, it's a lot more punchy because you have guys that are 18, 19 years old that are full of energy and that are excited just as I am, but they're full of energy and they can pretty much get on their pedals and really make the race really punchy. Right there, we just had Espen of Hit Squad who went down, but so we all went around him and we all made it around him very safely. And I was really surprised. I think he clipped the pedal, whatever, in that little chicane and bike flipped over, got back up, got his bike, and everybody was able to maneuver right around Espen really, really smoothly. So Espen, I hope that you're all right, brother, and hope that the bike is good to go. But as you see right now, I'm sitting on the back of Steven Netter. Steven Netter's number is 218. So I'm sitting on the back of him. And again, as we're going through the last final turn, as we get ready to come through the official start and finish right here, you see the commentators on the left-hand side over there, or the officials on the right-hand side, excuse me. We're coming up to this 3 to 4% climb. And I really tried to stay in the saddle most of the time. You see Netter right there. He's out of the saddle. I really tried to change my gears to make it easier for me so that as we came, I could carry my little bit of momentum into that 3 to 4% climb. and spin my way over the top of that, trying to stay in the saddle as much as I possibly could. Because as I've mentioned before in other commentaries, as soon as your boy comes out the saddle, I'm putting down 400, 500, 600 watts easily. It's just going to happen, especially when we're climbing. So right now, just sitting on Steven Netter's wheel, you see my RPMs, they're going up right now, 90 RPMs. We're going about 29 miles an hour. My heart rate's at 179, and you see that my power is fluctuating. It just went down now. It's creeping back up again at 90 watts. And so I'm sitting right here behind Netter, getting a good draft. And again, the wind is blowing from our left to the right. So now as we're making this, look how long this sweeping turn is. And you really have to be careful, because if you pedal through that the wrong way or at the wrong time, you could have clipped that ground. And when that pedal hits that ground, especially in a turn, it could cause you to spin out. It can cause you to go down. So right here in front of me, we have two Impact Racing teammates. So Steven Netter and then his teammate on his wheel. And so I just jump on that train as we pull on up. And again, the wind is blowing from the left to the right. So you have to know where to be when you need to be there, if that makes sense. So I realized in the actual screen watching it, if I need to be on the outside, because actually in this course right now, the wind is blowing from our right, because the map in what you see is kind of flip-flop. So now, right now, we're going into a headwind. So right here is the serious headwind. We're going to come up to a chicane, and if you look, as we come up to the chicane, if you look just to your 11 o'clock-ish, you will see as we make this turn right, if you look up to your 11 o'clock or even the 12 o'clock right now, you see that they have an overwatch up there. So people could go up there and watch us and see the full more of the course, because it was an overwatch. Right here to my immediate left of Big Orange, that's Wes Morgan. His number is 265. And so he's right here to my immediate left. And right now, I'm just sitting on VELO Pasadena's wheel, because they had about 4 or 5 guys in this race as well. So I'm noticing that a lot of the Masters squads, they come and they race these things together. 229 right now, that's Brandon Sanchez, again, of Big Orange. So Big Orange and Impact are both rocking the orange color or the orange scheme, but yet the kits are different. So again, as I've mentioned before in other commentaries, you got to know who's who in the zoo. You know, we're all out here, we're all wearing kits, we're all, of course, racing bikes, but you just got to know what teams are here, what players are present, so you know what moves to go with. And as right now, you see the pace is still up. We're going 25 miles an hour. We're coming up over that 3 to 4% climb right there. And this was the only climb on the course. Everything else was, you know, left-hand turns, right-hand turns, and the chicane. And then it was that. So right now, I got Kendall in front of me. I got Victor behind me. And we're just making our way through the couple. And right here is the only area where there's really a tailwind. And this section right here was the only tailwind that we could get, because everything else, looking at the course, was kind of either going to be a crosswind or going to be a headwind in the manner and how this course was set up. So we've currently hit about 13 minutes in the video. And if you've made it this far, I please ask that you would subscribe. And I also ask that you guys would hit that like button down below. I don't ask that too often, but I have to start remembering that that's another way you can let me know that you like what you see, you like what you hear, and we can keep going forward in this amazing journey together. So right now we're going through major turn number 2. I mean, there's several different turns you see on the map at the top, but there's 2 major turns, almost like 180-degree turns, and that's turn number 1, which we just went through, and then turn number 2, if you for that, you know, for that reasoning, right before we hit the 3 to 4% climb. So right now I'm still tucked in behind Kendall. Kendall's number is 233, and we're just making our way. So right now the wind is blowing from looking from the screen. The wind is blowing from our left to the right. And so now as we're making this right-hand turn right here, we're going into a headwind. And I have Brandon Sanchez of Big Orange on my wheel. Again, I'm still yet behind Netter. And so Netter is a larger rider like myself. And so you see here, I'm just tucked in behind him, doing about 88 revolutions per minute, going 27 miles an hour. Heart rate's at 179, 180. And I was kind of feeling that a little bit, pushing out just 93 watts. And I was feeling that a little bit. And I was like, man, if the pace could just slow down a little bit, excuse me, I could recover and I could probably do better. I can move up a little bit more, get closer to the front. But you see here, I'm probably about mid-pack. There was roughly about 60 riders in this race. There were 60 riders in this race, and I was like, I need to move up. I need to move up. But of course, being mindful, I'm like, man, I got Sharon Smith in this race. I got Rasan Bahadi of Methods to Winning in this race. You know, I got some other hitters. These these guys are gonna like wear me out up there because they're pros, they're ex-pros, or they're Category 1 racers, or they're Category 2 racers. And these guys, I mean, even David Mayhew is in this race, and it's just like guys catting up, guys crushing the game right now, and I'm just a Category 4 racer. Like, this was an amazing experience for me, and I'm really happy that I did this race because this day truly made for a grand experience. Not just because it was the Porsche Experience Center, but it really was a beautiful day. You know, the ride up there and going. Actually, I went to the Rafa of Los Angeles while we were there, and it just made for an amazing day. So right now I'm sitting behind Steven of VELO Pasadena, who's Kendall's teammate, and they have a few, again, as I said before, they have a few different teammates in this race. The guy that just came underneath us with the orange kit on and the lime or yellow bike, which is just like mine, the Sprint Specialized LA Sprint, that was Paul Creasy of Big Orange. And so right now I'm just tucked in behind Steven as we're making our way. And again, we're going through sweeping turn number 1. Look how long this turn is. And again, having friends in the race, at the races, is really beneficial because we kind of can do a hot wash. We can do a discussion before and after the race just to get some inside information, inside knowledge about the race. And I was advised, these turns are long. So be ready to be turning for a long period of time and be very careful about dropping that inside pedal, because if you hit that ground, you are going down, as we saw earlier in the race. So right now we're roughly about 17 minutes. We're almost halfway there. But right now sitting behind JL Velo, and can't see the number right now. So once I see the number, I'll be able to tell you who it is if I get to see the number, as you all know. So we're pressing on. We're doing about 91 revolutions per minute, 29 miles an hour at 178 beats per minute. So this rate, you see here, I go inside or go outside, if you want to call it that, and I'm moving up. I'm progressing up before we get to the chicane. I'm up here behind Brandon. I got Kendall right there at my 1 o'clock, and we're making our way through this quick little chicane. I'm sitting on Brandon Sanchez's wheel, and we're in a headwind. So you see here, a lot of people, not many people come on the outside to move up, but yet everybody's kind of pace lined out, or, you know, we got a double pace line going on, and we're making this right-hand turn. And so now the wind is blowing from our left to the right. So all of us that are on the outside right here, we're feeling that wind, and the people on the inside are really being shielded and protected from the wind. And that's one thing that I want to share with you, is that anytime you're on a course, you got to look at, see if there's any pennants or flags or debris, or look at the grass, if it's tall grass or flowers, or anything that you can that you believe could sway if the wind was to blow. And if it is moving, identify which direction the wind is blowing so that you will know where to position yourself in the race. As we make these left-hand and these right-hand turns, you know to get on the inside in this area, you know to get on the outside in this area. And what that can benefit you is from drafting. And drafting is simply using another rider to break up that wind so that that wind can go around you, or so that the wind is not pushing you or affecting you so much in your effort. So right now I have Kendall just behind me, and I'm sitting behind Brandon Sanchez, and we're in a tailwind section right here, and we're making our way. We're about to make a left-hand turn, and we're coming up on major turn number 1. So again, I really want to let you all know, I really appreciate you all for clicking these vids and for watching these vids and helping your boy. We are almost to 800 subscribers. And I ask that if you are watching this and you have not subscribed, as as YouTube tells me that I have people that are subscribed, people that are unsubscribed, and then it even says unknown from the analytics. So I don't understand that part, but if you have an opportunity to subscribe, I ask that you would. So right now you see me sitting on I'm on the outside, and the reason why I'm on the outside is because the wind's blowing from our right to our left now. So me being on the outside here, I'm not sure if there's anybody to my right, but if there was somebody to my right, I would be really benefiting from the draft. As you see the guy up there in the Bosch S2 kit with the red and yellow. he came up on the outside and he had a lot of bodies on his right, so he was able to draft. As you see, Brandon is on the outside right now. I'm on the outside. I got Kendall. I'm drafting off of Kendall. And as we make this right-hand turn right here, then we start to slide back in and tuck back in, because we now have a headwind. We're riding into the wind. And so you see here, I got this guy going up. He's out the saddle. He's pushing up. And so, of course, I was waiting for somebody to pop out so that I could jump on their wheel and progress up, as you see me doing now. So you see we're passing a lot of people. I just passed Victor, and I'm passing a lot of people. And now we're going through the chicane, so we kind of tuck back in. I got Paul Creasy right there. I have Pishon Jones right there of Methods to Winning. So now I'm around Pishon, and I learned something new about Pishon and what he does for Methods to Winning, and that's called, he's the sweeper. The sweeper is a person who sits on the back of a pace line. And I was like, you know, okay, what is that? Because in my knowledge, I always thought that everybody in front of the sprinter in a pace line were the lead out men. You know, so let's say you have 4 guys in a pace line. The first 3 guys are the lead out, and then you have the 4th guy being the sprinter. Well, I learned something new from watching Rasan Bahadi's video last week. I believe they did the I believe it was Barry Wolf race when Pishon was actually the last rider in their pace line. So just using the analogy of 4 riders, the first 2 riders are the lead out guys. The 3rd rider would be the sprinter, and then the 4th rider would be the sweeper. And what the sweeper does, he keeps people from jumping on the sprinter's wheel. And again, because if you get on the sprinter's wheel, then you can benefit from their draft, not use as much energy, and possibly come around the sprinter in the final meters, going past the start finish, and possibly win the race or get a better placement than the sprinter, or than another team sprinter, I should say it that way. So right now I'm sitting on Peter Verth's wheel as he's moving up. And again, this is the tailwind section. We're coming up through this left-hand turn right here, and we're passing people. Because that's probably the fastest portion of the race, because that is where the tailwind is. The second fastest portion will be as soon as we come over that 3 to 4% climb, or roller, if we want to call it that. And when you come over that little roller, going down that into that left-hand sweeping turn, that's probably the fastest portion of this course. But when it comes to just, you know, being on level ground and putting down some pressure on the pedals, the fastest or the second fastest portion will be in that tailwind section. Right now I'm sitting on Byron's wheel of DNA. I think it's CBS Cycling. And so I'm sitting on his wheel, and now we're coming up, and you got Peter Verth right there. So you got these 2 guys with this teal and black kits. They're also teammates with Dimitri, and he drives a Porsche Panamera. So he said, I saw him earlier in the race. He's like, yeah, Whit, my car's out there. My mom, she really liked this Porsche. But anyway, so again, sitting on Peter's wheel right now. And I know Peter, you know, he did a fantastic job. He was up in front of the second group. And so I'm not sure at what point the breakaway happened or got established. And so you see here, we got the Bosch guy going up over outside. So I kind of jumped outside. I was going to jump on that, but he started doing all that. And so I just kind of held back, because I was like, okay, that's going to pull a lot of energy out of me to try to stay with that. So I just tucked right back in under who I know, which is Peter Verth. But yeah, so before, as I was saying, my legs were hurting. I felt good, but my legs were hurting. And I was like, oh my goodness, if the pace could just settle down a little bit, I could do a lot better, I felt. And so what eventually happened was there was probably about roughly 15 to 20 riders that broke away off the front. The elasticity broke, and there was a breakaway group of about 15 to 20 riders, and that group was full of category 1s and category 2 riders. And so when that elasticity broke, when that rubber band broke, the pace for this Peloton group, or the chase group, or however you want to call us, the pace settled down a little bit, because all the Cat 1s and Cat 2s had broken away from us. And so I was able to ride a little bit better. As you see here, I go on the inside as we go over that roller, and then we go into this left-hand turn. As I sit on Pishon Jones's wheel right here of Methods to Winning. And so as soon as that elasticity broke, my legs felt better. Like I was able to recover in my legs, and I was able to ride a lot smarter and a lot more comfortable, because we weren't pushing so hard anymore, even though you see here we're hitting 31 miles an hour. But again, this is the fastest portion of the course. And so I was able to, in a sense, recover. My heart rate starts to go down. I'm at 174. I'm not at 179, 180 anymore. We're still going 29 miles an hour, putting out 90 revolutions per minute. You know, right now I'm coasting right behind P. Jones, which is Sharon and Bahati's methods to winning sweeper. And so, you know, now you see me swinging. I'm swinging on the outside. And I'm swinging on the outside because I started realizing, oh my God, I can get a draft if I stay on the outside here. So I'm staying on the out. You see, I'm staying to the left versus coming over on the right, getting right behind this VELO Pasadena wheel. I'm staying to the left, letting other people come underneath me because that's where I will benefit from the draft. As you see here, I have I believe this is, I don't know who this is to my right, but I have somebody to my right, which was helping me to receive that draft because the wind was blowing from our right to our left. And then I have Wes Morgan right here in front of me. And so again, I just stay right here to the right, to the left of the course because I have a rider to my right benefiting from his draft, and I'm able to just stay right there with everybody, not using as much energy. I tell Wes right here to go ahead and jump in. And again, I do that because I don't have to use that effort, that energy to close that gap down when I got a rider right there. And so I just tell him, hey, come on in, come on in. So he comes in, he fills in that gap. I don't have to expend any more energy. So right now you see we're kind of getting swarmed a little bit because again, this is the headwind section. And if you really want to make a move or do something that's going to change the dynamic of the race, you have to do it when it hurts the most. Let me say that again. If you want to do something that's really going to change the game, change the dynamic of a race, you have to do it when it hurts you the most. And what do I mean by that? The headwind section, nobody wants to be out front pulling. As you see me now, I'm passing people. Even though I'm on the outside, I use my momentum to come up and pass some guys on this section, even though the wind is blowing from our left to our right. So right now I'm behind LAGRANGE as well as James up there of VELO Pasadena. But if you want to do something that's going to change the characteristic of a race or change and maybe benefit you or not, you have to do it when it hurts the most. And so because we know that the lower, if you look at the map in the top right again, you see there that it's a long straight road with a chicane as you come into the right-hand turn to get ready to go into pretty much turn number 2, the big turn number 2 of the course. If you want to do something, you have to do it there ultimately because that's when it hurts. That's a headwind. Everybody's trying to tuck in. Nobody wants to be in the wind because everybody wants to conserve energy. And so if you want to change something, do a breakaway, go, make a move, you have to do it there. It's going to hurt you a lot, but it's also going to hurt everybody else a lot. And I believe I have Sanchez on my wheel of methods to winning as he's coming underneath me right now. And so right now we're coming up on major turn number 1. And yeah, so you just have to be mindful of the course, knowing where the headwind sections are, knowing where the tailwind sections are, because the tailwind section would not be the section to make a move in. Why? Because everybody is going to benefit from the wind pushing them in the back. You may be able to go 30 miles an hour, but guess what? I can go 30 miles an hour too because I have the wind assisting me to go faster, to go faster, to keep up with whatever's going on in front of me. So right now I'm sitting on James's wheel of VELO Pasadena with those beautiful Force socks. And if you guys like the Force socks, if you've seen my sock game on Instagram and you love how the Force socks look, I ask that you would please go to ForzeTri.com, check them out, and you can also use my discount code. You'll get 15% off using CDUB2019. That's CDUB 2019. So you can go there and check out Force socks and become a part of the family. And I've had people reach out to me like, hey, Whit, where do I get these socks at? And I encourage you all to please check out Force socks. So right now, just again, still sitting behind James. I have Victor and Brandon behind me. We're going 26 miles an hour. And again, this is the headwind section. So going 25 miles an hour in a headwind. We got 85 revolutions per minute. My heart rate's at 170, which is really good. 169, really good. So got Peter Verth right there coming on the outside, which will now be underneath us as we make this left-hand turn. I have Byron right here to my left. And again, just staying tucked in. Just staying tucked in because this is the headwind section. You see James, he's going to the right because that's where he's going to benefit from the draft the best. I should have jumped on his wheel, but watch this. He almost got pushed off into the dirt. So I'm happy I didn't go with that because he's a smaller rider. I'm a bigger rider. He had a little bit more wiggle room to make that adjustment rather than me. I probably would have been off in the dirt, as I even seen other videos from this event of different races where guys literally got pushed off into the dirt, whether it was going through a turn, whether it was going through a chicane. Guys had in this race specifically did get pushed off into dirt, and because they have mountain bike skills, because they have cyclocross experience, they were able to recover and keep it safe. But right now we're coming up over that 3 to 4% climb. I got Peter Verth right here in front of me. I got Brandon behind me, Victor behind me. I got Kendall behind me. There's also Byron right there behind me. So sometimes I'll try to cause your attention to go to the rear camera because even I myself, I forget about the rear camera sometimes, even though I really appreciate it so much. So we are now over halfway done with this video. And again, if you're still here, I ask that you would go ahead and pause it, go get your beverage, go get some more snacks. You probably ran out of your pepperoni and cheese, and come on back and let's carry on. So right now I'm sitting behind Wes Morgan of Big Orange Cycling right there, and we're just having a grand old time. This course was truly amazing, and as I've learned from Bahati, is keep moving. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And that's a beautiful thing because you never get stagnant in the race. It keeps your mind fresh, it keeps you alert in a race, and it keeps you active in a race. And that's a beautiful thing, especially doing what we do, because as soon as you get complacent in a race, that's not good. Complacency leads to catastrophic failure in a race. So please stay vigilant and stay active in the races. All right, so we got Peter Verth to my left, we got Wes Morgan to my right, and we're just making our way. And so, of course, I'm sitting on the outside because the wind's blowing from our right to the left. I got Byron right there coming over the top of me, and I got Steven Etter and Kendall in the rear behind me in the rear camera. So again, you see here we're hitting 26 miles an hour, putting out just over 240 watts, and in the headwind section again. So again, the course only being 1.3 miles, it was a longer course than what some of us are used to, but because the course, the pavement was so good, because it had left-hand turns, right-hand turns, it did not get boring. The course did not get boring. And I say that because sometimes doing, 4 left-hand turns, 4 right-hand turns, it can get boring over an extended period of time. Even though we still enjoy racing because we register, we show up, we drive there, we're there all day long. We still enjoy it. It's just the fact that this course, bringing some right-hand turns, some left-hand turns, a little climb, a chicane, it gave us a full experience. Yes, I'm playing on that word. It gave us a full experience. As you see me here, past a lot of guys on the outside, and again with Pishon Jones right there, keeping up with me. And just to be honest, I really wanted to stay around Pishon just so that some of these hitters, know that, that I'm not just posting stuff on social media just to be seen, but yet I am out here truly grinding and I'm working hard because I really enjoy what I do. I'm passionate about this. I'm having a good time. And as you see here, we do have a breakaway. The lady that we just passed, she was probably watching the breakaway group, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them in here. So you see I'm at the front of this group, and you see there's a little bit of a gap behind me. So I'm actually like at the front of the peloton. I'm up here behind Pishon, and there's not many racers in front of me. There's probably about 4 or 5 more racers in front of me, and we are at the front. I mean, you see it there. I'm like 5th wheel right now. Yeah, 5th or 6th wheel right now at the front of this group. And so if you look to the right, I think you can possibly see, yeah, you see the breakaway going right there. That's the breakaway. So they just went through the turn and they're going back the other way. So there's roughly probably about a 15 to 20 second gap between us and them. There's a gap there. And so some guys would come up to the front with a serious effort going and try to bridge that gap, but it really wasn't going to work. And I felt that the best place to try to close that gap down, as I mentioned before, would be when it hurts you the most. And the best place I felt to close that gap down would be right before, pretty much I'll explain it. So right now you should probably be winding up. If you're really trying to close that gap down, you should be winding up right here. And then as we come through this right-hand turn, so we're going to go left and then we're going to go right. As we come through this right-hand turn right here, you should use the momentum in this turn to slingshot you across into the headwind to catch the back end of the breakaway. And I say that because the breakaway is going to slow down as well. Everybody else here is going to slow down because it's expected, because again, it hurts because you're going into a headwind. But that turn would have slingshotted you forward. You would have been in the wind. You probably had to put out about 500 watts, but that would have assisted you in catching the breakaway group because it hurts everybody the most. And so the back end of this course would have been the best place, I believe. And if you have different opinion, please leave that down in the comment section below, and maybe we can get some dialogue going about that. But 206 right here, that is Paul Creasy of Big Orange, as I sit in between him and Peter Verth of DNA Cycling. So right there, you see James, he's up there getting his snacks. And again, because we're roughly about halfway through the race, 35 minutes in this video. And I was joking with him when the race was over. I was like, bro, I thought you was going to throw one of them gel packs back to me so I could get me some gel too. Kind of be like Popeye the Sailor Man and squeeze that thing and put it in my mouth and get all buff and strong and be able to carry out the plan of the day and move up in this race like I was the last lap. So right now I'm sitting behind Paul Creasy as well as Netter. And you see, again, Netter's out the saddle and some guys are in the saddle. So for me, I tried to spin up the hill and I tried not to come out of the saddle. And the reason being, again, is because I use a lot of energy. I use a lot of wattage when I come out of the saddle. When I come out the saddle, that wattage number is going to literally shoot up about 400 watts. And I'm not bragging. It's just because I'm a bigger guy. As soon as I stand up on them pedals, the pedals are responding. The pedals are like, I feel you, bruh. I feel you, because you ain't 10 pounds. You got some weight on you. And so the pedals respond. The power meter responds. And so I try to stay in the saddle to conserve that energy the best that I possibly can. So right now I'm sitting behind Paul Creasy and James. We're making our way up to turn number 1. So again, the wind is blowing from our right to the left. So again, I'm going to stay on the outside here. I'm just to the inside a little bit of Paul because I had nobody to my right. And now I'm kind of pushed to the inside because, you know, I can move up. There was a gap there and my momentum carried me up right again back to James's wheel. So now we're making that right-hand turn, left-hand turn, and then we're going to go into the actual turn. You see Netter on the outside over there moving up. He's moving up because he's on the outside and he's receiving shield from our bodies as the wind's blowing through the riders. So now, as you know, we're in the headwind section. I have Wes, I have James and Paul all right here in front of me. I have some hit squad behind me, and you see it's kind of strung out behind us back there. I believe that's Steven back there in the VELO Pasadena. So I'm pretty much near the back. There's probably about 10 riders behind me now. And so I'm still sitting here on the back of the group behind Victor. And it was funny in this race because the 266 over there, I don't think I got his name, but 266 was sweating a lot in the race. And so anytime you were behind him, you felt little drops of rain hit you in the face or whatever. And like, man, is that guy sweat or is it actually raining out here? And so I found myself trying to dodge his rain when it came back my way. And it's like, oh my God, I gotta get away. But hey, I can't blame everybody. We all sweat. Like I sweat a lot too. But it was very interesting. Like in the race, like, man, I'm getting hit by water and it's not my sweat. So why am I getting hit? And it's not raining. What's going on? But you know, I told him after the race, I said, bro, you were sweating. He was like, yeah, I sweat a lot. And so we're not right now going through the 3 to 4% roller. And I hope you guys have made it this far in the video. Again, I thank you, truly thank you for your love and your support, for my love and support and passion for this sport. I really enjoy it. I'm so thankful that I was able to find this hobby. And as I explained to a lot of people, that racing makes me want to do a long, chill coffee ride. And then in turn, the long, chill coffee rides make me want to race. So I found my yin and my yang. This thing, I love cycling, and I can't express it enough. And I hope that you all feel that passion. Hope you all feel that love that I have for this sport. And like I just watched one of Justin Williams' video, he said that he is a rebel. And I support the revolution. I support the change. I'm all about getting more color, more diversity on the scene, to include youth, black, white, Asian, Hispanic youth racing bikes, as well as women of all color, nationality. I mean, if you got to be out here in your headdress, underneath your helmet, I support that. And I ask that you guys, if you have an impact of any way, if you have a voice of any way, I ask that you would share the love of cycling to your local communities, because that is my goal. That is my vision, to actively influence and impact communities through cycling, reshaping someone's tomorrow. That is the Critwit vision statement. Again, I say, to actively influence and impact communities through cycling, reshaping someone's tomorrow. And so I just truly enjoy this sport. I enjoy what it has offered me. It has offered me a lot of friendships. It has offered me a lot of communities. It has offered me a lot of relationships. It has offered me a fun-filled experience, from being dropped, from being pulled, from winning races, from getting on the podium, from being in crashes. It has offered me a lot, offered me scars on my body that I'll never forget. It has just offered me a whole lot. And so I'm really appreciative of this sport and of the community. So thank you all for your love and your support. And if you're watching at this point and you have not subscribed, I do ask humbly and hungry that you would subscribe. If you don't have a YouTube account, I ask that you would set one up. It is free. You can pause it right here. It is free. This video is currently at 41 minutes, and we roughly have 9 minutes to go. So we're almost done with the video. I have Steven behind me. I'm sitting behind Bosch S2 team, Stages 2 team, in the red and yellow kits. And we're just making our way through turn number 2 as we go into the 3 to 4% climb. And so there we got Paul Creasy out of the saddle. We got Brandon coming over the top of me on my right. And I believe Netter just came out of the saddle. And I was explaining to everybody after the race, when I saw Steve come out the saddle and sprint up the way, for some reason, I felt that at that point, the whole race made sense to me. Drafting, staying on the inside after this turn, and getting on the outside after that turn. But as now I watch it, I was doing that earlier in the race. So now I come up and I come around a guy in the fastest portion of this course, or the second fastest portion of the course. You guys know what I'm saying. And I get up on Pishon Jones's wheel. And again, he was kind of marked for me because, again, the position that he had been deemed to have for such a great team, Methods to Winning. And I kind of joked with Sharon after this race was over. And I said, hey, man, you left your new sweeper behind. He was like, what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? I said, you left me behind. He kind of laughed or whatever. But even before that, before the race started, Sharon Smith had asked me, he said, are you racing today? How'd you do? I said, I haven't raced yet. I'll be racing soon. He said, what race are you doing? And I said to him, the same one you're doing. And he said, oh, really? He said, are you ready for an experience? He said it differently than that. But I said, the experience is going to have to come with some work. And that I responded a little differently than that. But keeping it extremely G-rated, that's how I responded. And that's what he said. He said, are you ready for an experience? And I said, yes, I'm ready for an experience. So, and I truly received one. It was an amazing event, y'all. And I'm super happy that I was able to go. I'm thankful that my wife encouraged me to go. I'm happy that she kind of pulled my man card to make me register for this particular race, because I wanted to do the category 4 or 5 race, which was at 7 o'clock. And if you watch the vlogger video, you see that I was there, even though I only would have had like 20 minutes to warm up and get dressed and all that other stuff to get to the race, which would not have been good for me. But I'm really thankful that she encouraged me to go and go for the experience. And so that's one thing I'm really learning in 2019. It's all about the experience. Nobody can take the experience away from you once you've had it. I had a discussion yesterday on one of my low cadence 1.0 rides that a buddy of mine said there's no good or bad experiences. They're all experiences. And we agreed to disagree. I said there are good experiences and there are bad experiences. And I asked that if you've made it this far in the race, in the video, I asked that if you have an opinion about that, please put that down in the comment section below. Do you believe that they're just experiences, or do you believe that there are good and bad experiences? And so I asked that you would put your opinion down below. And again, I'm just looking to dialogue with you all. So as you see right here, I'm by 2 methods to winning teammates, but I also know tactic with racing now from watching so much video. These two guys are not going to do any work to bring that breakaway back. If they get on the front, they're really going to slow it down or just kind of keep the pace where it's at because the gap is so big. So when I mentioned it probably about 10 minutes ago, the gap was 20 seconds at that time. The gap is probably 30 seconds now. So with Pichon or his teammate, I believe that was Sanchez, if they got on the front, they were going to just slow it up because they had two teammates or more in the actual breakaway. So they were not going to do any work to bring that breakaway back. But what they would have done was they would have jumped on attempts to bring that breakaway back. And because what that would simply do is put more of their team in the breakaway, which would have suited the team better in the breakaway, if that makes sense. And if there's anything that I've said today that you did not understand, I ask that you would, again, let me know in the comment section below. And I will do the best I can to explain it there. So we just had some technical difficulties. Hopefully everything is well. My phone just fell. But yeah, so that's why I knew that Pichon and Sanchez were not going to make a serious effort going up the road to catch that breakaway because, again, they had teammates there. So we roughly have 4 minutes left. So I want to say we're about to come up on, we're coming up on the last lap here very, very soon because it's roughly, I think, maybe about 3 minutes per lap. And so we're currently at 46 minutes in the video, and the video is just over 50 minutes long. So right now I got James to my left. Again, behind Pichon, we're passing Peter Verth. We're making our way coming up through turn number 2. I got, I believe, Steven on my wheel. And we're coming up. That was the chicane, excuse me. So we just went through the chicane, excuse me. And now we're going to make this right-hand turn up here. You got James out of the saddle moving up, making up some placing. And again, there was only a handful of Category 4 in this race. So this race, I think, was made up of more Cat 2s and Cat 3s than anything else. There was probably about maybe 10 to 12 Cat 1s, probably 20 Cat 2s, literally a handful, probably about 6 or 7 Cat 4s, and then everything else was Cat 3s. So the majority in this race was Category 2 racers and Category 3 racers. And so right now we're coming through major turn number 2, and I believe this is going to be the final lap right here. Yep, so final lap. I'm sitting on Paul's wheel, or not, excuse me, not Paul, yeah, Paul's wheel, and we're going up through the 3 to 4% climb. Just now passing Brandon coming up, or excuse me, Byron on the right, the DNA kit, sitting on Brandon's wheel. And we're making our way through the left-hand turn. I got Victor to my left. And this is the final lap, ladies and gentlemen. So again, I thank you for your time. I really do. I know time is very valuable. Once you've spent it, you don't get it back. So I really appreciate you sitting here with me for 50 some odd minutes. So right now, got a VELO Pasadena guy coming up. I jump on that wheel. I think that's Victor. I had Kendall on my. Kendall was coming up on his teammate's wheel. I kind of took that gap from him, and I didn't know. Again, now having the rear camera, I see that happened. So I came up on this rider's wheel, got there. He was pushing up. We passed a few guys, and so now we're coming up on turn number 1. I'm around Pichon Jones, and now we're going through this long turn. And again, the turn is so long because a car has to make this turn. And so you saw there 2 riders almost bumped each other and kind of threw Sanchez off of his apex of his turn. And so he was able to get back in. And so right now I'm sitting on the left side of the group because, again, the wind is blowing from the right to the left. And so you see here, they're starting to put down some wires. So I hit 900 watts right there, going 29 miles an hour. People now are starting to get antsy. It's starting to get sketchy now because they know that we're coming up on the headwind section. And if you're not in the right place, you're not in the right place. So a couple of guys try to go off the front right there. As I mentioned earlier, they were trying to make a move. I don't know why, because there was, again, a breakaway of like 20 plus riders up the road. So right here would have been just simple just to race the group. And so, again, you got a few guys up the road. The peloton is staying together. We're making our way. I'm drafting right now. I'm tucked in behind Joe. I think that's Joe right here. They got James out the saddle again. And so, again, just staying on the hit squad's wheel. As we're making our way up, we got impact guys going underneath, trying to get some placement before the chicane. And that's a good thing to do. Try to get in the right position before the chicane, because usually in the chicane or through the chicane, not many places are made up. So now we got guys out the saddle trying to stay with them, pushing out over 800 watts, 179 beats per minute, going 30 miles an hour. As we come up on pretty much the second to final turn, we're making this turn. I'm losing a wheel. So the S2 guy came underneath me. I got Kendall on my wheel. I got Paul Creasy coming on the inside. He's going to pass a few different riders. You got guys almost rubbing wheel right there. As we come through the final turn right here, the very final turn, everybody kind of sits up. We're kind of chill right here. Kendall is digging from the rear camera. He's digging. I pass up a rider. Kendall passes me. I get 27th of 60. 27th of 60 racers in the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. On to the next one with your boy, C-Dub, a.k.a. Crit Whit. Peace.